Denzel Washington has been part of people's lives for a long time. For decades, he worked steadily, built a strong reputation, and stayed respected in an industry that changes quickly. Many viewers grew up watching his films, and for years he seemed like someone who never slowed down. Now he is in his 70s, and life naturally looks different than it did during the busiest years of his career. If you've followed him for years and still respect what he's done, take a moment to like and subscribe for him, because this story is about where he is now and what life looks like at this stage. At 71, he is no longer living at the same pace he once did. Many fans imagine that someone with his level of success continues life the same way forever. In reality, things change. The body ages, routines shift, and priorities become simpler. Instead of constant filming and public appearances, life becomes more about balance and maintaining health. He grew up in Mount Vernon, New York, in a working-class household. His father was a minister and his mother ran a small beauty salon. Money was not endless, and life was structured around discipline and routine. His parents expected him to stay focused and out of trouble. That environment helped shape his personality early on. He learned to respect structure, follow routines, and stay grounded. When his parents separated during his youth, it affected him deeply. His mother made the decision to send him to a private school to keep him on a steady path. He later spoke about how that decision likely kept him away from trouble that some of his childhood friends ran into. Those early years taught him how quickly life can change depending on the choices people make. As a teenager and young adult, he did not immediately see himself as an actor. He went to college and explored different interests. Acting came later, almost by accident. Once he discovered it, he took it seriously. He trained, auditioned, and slowly started building a career. It wasn't instant success. Like many actors, he spent time working small roles and trying to prove himself. Those early experiences created a strong sense of discipline that stayed with him throughout his life. He learned how to stay focused on long-term goals instead of short-term attention. He also learned how to keep his personal struggles private. That habit of keeping things to himself followed him into adulthood and into his career. Now, looking at his life at 71, those early lessons still show. He lives in a controlled and structured way. He doesn't share much publicly about personal matters. He has always handled pressure quietly. That approach helped him succeed for decades, but it also means people don't always see what life looks like behind the scenes as he gets older. The foundation of his life was built on discipline and responsibility. Those qualities carried him through his career, but they also mean that when life slows down, he tends to face those changes privately rather than speaking openly about them. His career began to gain attention in the 1980s. He worked steadily in television and film, building trust with directors and audiences. Over time, his performances earned recognition and awards. He became known for consistency. Producers knew he would show up prepared and focused. That reliability kept him working for decades without long breaks. As his reputation grew, so did expectations. Every role carried pressure. Audiences expected strong performances every time. Studios expected professionalism. He maintained that level for many years. That kind of consistency doesn't come easily. It requires long hours, travel, and constant focus. Throughout the 1990s and early 2000s, he stayed in demand. Films required months of work, sometimes in different locations. Promotional tours followed each release. Interviews, press events, and travel became routine. For someone in his position, there was little downtime. Even when not filming, there was preparation for the next project. Carrying that level of responsibility for decades builds success, but it also builds fatigue over time. At the peak of his career, he maintained the pace without showing signs of slowing down. He kept working, kept delivering performances, and stayed respected across the industry. But long careers eventually reach a point where energy changes. Now, at 71, the pace is naturally different. He still takes on projects, but not at the same frequency. Roles are chosen more carefully. Time between projects is longer. That shift is normal after so many years of continuous work. It reflects a body and mind that have spent decades operating under pressure. He is still respected, and his name still carries weight. But the constant momentum of earlier decades is no longer there. That change can feel strange for someone who spent most of his life moving from one project to the next. Slowing down after years of constant motion can be difficult to adjust to, even when it's expected. For most of his adult life, he followed a structured routine. He has often spoken about staying disciplined and keeping his focus on work and family. He avoided many of the distractions that affect long careers in entertainment. That structure allowed him to stay consistent and avoid major public controversies. Faith and routine were part of his daily life. He spoke openly about believing in staying grounded and not letting fame change him too much. That mindset helped him manage pressure and maintain stability. For decades, he lived with a clear sense of purpose and direction. Living in such a controlled way can be helpful during busy years. It keeps life organized and predictable. But when work slows and schedules become lighter, the structure changes. The same routines that once revolved around film sets and travel begin to shift toward quieter days. At 71, daily life likely looks simpler than it once did. Instead of constant filming and promotion, there is more time at home. There are fewer long travel schedules. The body does not handle long workdays the same way it did decades earlier. Adjusting to that slower pace can take time. Someone who spent most of their life working at a high level often feels the difference when things calm down. It's not about losing purpose. It's about learning to live at a different speed. The mind may still want to stay active, but the body requires more rest. That balance becomes important with age. His disciplined mindset probably helps him manage these changes. He has always been someone who adapts quietly rather than speaking publicly about personal struggles. From the outside, he appears steady. Inside, like many people in their 70s, he is likely adjusting to a new rhythm that involves more rest and less constant movement. Working in film for decades involves more effort than many people realize. Long shooting days can start early in the morning and stretch late into the night. Scenes require repetition, physical movement, and focus. Travel between cities and countries adds more strain. Over the years, that schedule becomes tiring. He maintained that pace for a long time. Many of his peers slowed down earlier, but he continued working steadily into his later years. That kind of commitment builds a strong career, but it also uses a lot of energy. Eventually, everyone reaches a point where slowing down becomes necessary. In his 70s, energy levels naturally change. Recovery after long days takes longer. Sleep becomes more important. The body requires more care and attention. These are normal changes, but they can feel significant for someone used to constant activity. He now appears less frequently in public than he once did. Interviews are fewer. Film projects come with more space between them. That doesn't mean he has stopped working completely. It simply means he chooses when to work rather than staying in constant motion. After decades of carrying heavy schedules and expectations, the body and mind both feel the effects. There is pride in what has been accomplished, but there is also the reality that maintaining the pace forever isn't possible. Adjusting to that truth can be difficult. The painful part of this stage of life isn't a sudden crisis. It's the steady realization that time changes what a person can do day to day. Someone who once worked non-stop now needs more rest. Someone who once traveled constantly now spends more time at home. These changes happen slowly, but they are real. He spent most of his life working hard and staying consistent. Now he is in a phase where life is quieter. The routine is lighter. The pace is slower. After so many years of constant movement, that shift can feel heavy even when it's expected. By the time someone reaches their 70s, daily life naturally looks different. The same routines that once felt easy start to require more planning. Long days become more tiring. Travel takes more effort. For someone who spent decades working in film, those changes are noticeable. After years of early call times, long shoots, and constant travel, slowing down becomes part of the routine whether a person wants it or not. At this stage, work is usually more selective. Instead of taking every opportunity, choices are made carefully. Projects are spaced out. Rest becomes important between commitments. The pace is not the same as it was in earlier decades. That doesn't mean a person stops working completely. It means the schedule is built around what feels manageable. Many people in their 70s adjust in the same way, especially after a lifetime of steady work. There is also a shift in how time is valued. Earlier in life, time is often spent building a career and staying busy. Later on, time feels more limited, and priorities change. Family, health, and quiet days at home start to matter more than constant activity. This shift can feel unfamiliar at first. Someone who spent years moving from one project to the next may find it strange to have open days with no strict schedule. The body sends signals that it needs more care. Rest days become necessary rather than optional. Simple routines like exercise, eating well, and regular checkups become central parts of daily life. These are normal adjustments, but they can feel significant for someone used to pushing through long workdays without much pause. Public life also changes. Appearances become less frequent. Interviews are chosen carefully. Instead of being everywhere at once, there is more space between public moments. That quieter presence can make fans wonder how things are going, but often it simply reflects a more balanced lifestyle. Reaching this stage of life also brings reflection. After decades of work, a person naturally looks back at what they've done. There is pride in the career, but also an awareness that the busiest years are behind. That realization can feel heavy at times. It doesn't take away from past achievements, but it does mark a transition into a different phase of life. Adjusting to this new rhythm takes patience. It involves accepting that energy is not what it once was and that rest is part of staying healthy. For someone who built a reputation on discipline and consistency, adapting to slower days can be challenging. Still, it becomes part of everyday life. The focus shifts from constant work to maintaining balance and taking care of long-term health. This stage is not about dramatic change. It's about gradual adjustment. A lifetime of activity gives way to a steadier pace. Work continues, but in a different way. Days are quieter, routines are simpler, and energy is used more carefully. That is the reality for many people at this age, especially after decades in a demanding career. Health becomes a central focus in the 70s. Even without major illness, the body requires more attention. Regular checkups become routine. Recovery after busy days takes longer. Sleep patterns may change. These are normal parts of aging, but they affect daily life in noticeable ways. After decades of work in film, the physical demands of the job add up. Long hours on set, travel across time zones, and constant schedules take energy. Over time, the body asks for more rest. It becomes important to listen to those signals. Choosing when to work and when to step back becomes part of maintaining health. Daily routines often become simpler. Mornings may start slower. Exercise focuses on staying mobile and maintaining strength rather than pushing limits. Meals are planned with health in mind. These small adjustments help maintain stability. They also reflect the reality that the body doesn't respond the same way it did years earlier. Energy levels can vary from day to day. Some days feel strong and active. Other days require more rest. That balance is common at this stage of life. Instead of trying to maintain the same pace as earlier decades, the focus shifts to consistency and care. Working less frequently allows time for recovery and personal routines. Public appearances are often spaced out to avoid fatigue. Travel is planned carefully. Instead of moving constantly, there is more time spent at home. This quieter lifestyle supports health and allows for rest between commitments. It also gives space for family time and personal reflection. There is a difference between slowing down and stopping completely. Many people continue working in their 70s, but in a more measured way. Projects are chosen carefully. Schedules are built around what feels manageable. That approach allows work to continue without overwhelming the body. The reality of aging is not sudden or extreme. It happens gradually. Small changes in energy and routine add up over time. For someone who spent decades staying active, accepting those changes can take time. It requires patience and discipline to adapt to a new pace. Health becomes the foundation of daily life. Instead of constant movement, there is a focus on maintaining stability. Rest, routine, and balance become priorities. This shift can feel different after years of non-stop work, but it becomes necessary for long-term well-being. It is a normal part of getting older after a long and demanding career. Family often becomes more central as life slows down. After years of work and travel, spending time at home feels more important. Long-term relationships and family connections provide stability and comfort. For someone who has been married for decades and raised children, this stage of life brings more time together. Daily life may revolve around simple routines. Meals at home, quiet mornings, and time with loved ones replace the constant movement of earlier years. Instead of being surrounded by large film crews and busy sets, there is more time spent in familiar environments. This shift can feel calming, but it also highlights how much life has changed. Privacy becomes more valuable. Instead of frequent public appearances, there are longer stretches away from the spotlight. Interviews and events are limited. Personal time is protected. This approach allows for a quieter life and reduces the pressure that comes with constant attention. As children grow and build their own lives, family roles shift. There may be more time spent as a mentor or supporter rather than as the person constantly working. Watching family members move through their own careers and responsibilities can be rewarding. It also reminds a person that time moves forward for everyone. A smaller daily circle becomes normal. Instead of large professional teams and constant interaction, life centers around close family and trusted friends. This change can feel different after decades of being in busy environments. It takes time to adjust to quieter days and fewer public moments. Staying private also means that not much is shared publicly about daily life. Fans see occasional appearances or updates, but most routines remain personal. This distance can make it seem like someone has stepped away completely, even if they are simply living more quietly. The focus at this stage often shifts toward maintaining relationships and staying healthy. Work continues, but it is no longer the center of every day. Family time, rest, and personal routines take priority. That balance helps maintain stability and allows for a more controlled pace of life. Living more privately does not mean isolation. It means choosing when to step into public life and when to stay home. After decades in the spotlight, this quieter approach can feel more comfortable. It allows space for reflection and for maintaining close connections without constant outside pressure. At 71, life has a different rhythm than it did during the busiest years of his career. Work still happens, but not at the same pace. Projects are chosen carefully. Time between commitments is longer. Daily routines are simpler. This stage of life is less about constant activity and more about balance. He remains respected across the industry. His past work continues to be recognized. When he appears publicly, he is still seen as someone with a strong presence and long experience. That respect does not fade with age. What changes is the frequency of appearances and the level of activity. A typical day is likely quieter than it once was. Instead of early call times and long shoots, there may be more time spent at home. Exercise, rest, and family time become central parts of the routine. Health and energy guide decisions about work and travel. This slower pace supports stability and allows for continued activity without overexertion. There is also a sense of reflection that comes with this stage of life. After decades of work, there is time to look back at what has been accomplished. There is pride in the career and the consistency maintained over many years. At the same time, there is awareness that the busiest chapter has passed. That realization can feel heavy at times, even when it is expected. He continues to live in a disciplined way. Structure and routine remain part of daily life. Those habits help maintain stability and allow for continued work when the right projects come along. The difference now is that rest and recovery are built into the schedule more carefully. Public life is more limited, but not gone. When he chooses to appear, the respect from audiences is still there. The connection with fans remains, even if it happens less often. That steady support reflects the impact of a long career built on consistency and professionalism. The reality of life at 71 is not defined by sudden change. It is shaped by gradual adjustment. Energy is managed carefully. Time is spent more selectively. The pace is slower, but there is still purpose. Work continues in a measured way, and daily life centers around health and family. After decades of constant movement, this quieter phase becomes the new normal. It may feel different from the peak years, but it reflects the natural progression of a long life and career. The man he is today carries the same discipline and focus, just applied to a slower and more balanced routine.